Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Mo again. Well, in this lecture, we're going to be looking at this subnetting. We're going to be subnetting in our head. Now, the best thing to do is get online, get to this website, nybi.org. And I would actually get a piece of paper and a pen also at the beginning. And you'll see after a few actual examples, you'll start subnetting in your head. So let's take a look at this and see. This is an actual school that I was actually working for a total of 16 years. And during COVID is actually shut down, but the website is still actually out there. And I would appreciate like the owner, which is his name is Taro Mukai, Mr. Mukai, Mukai's son, allowed me to share this website with you folks. So I would actually get a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and let's start working on this. There's different quizzes. I do have subnetting quiz one, and which tells me how many networks I want, which is basically what we did. And there's a quiz two, which is like the reverse engineering, and that's what I want to actually start with. This is an accurate site where you could actually test your skills. Now, take a look at this. For example, what is the network address? What is the broadcast address? What is the subnet mask of the following? So, this is a host address. Now, it doesn't matter what class it is, because when you're subnetting, it's a VLSM, it's classless. We're not following subnet mask rules. And this is a slash 22. Now, watch this. If it's a slash 22, no matter what class I'm actually in, let me go ahead and put the subnet mask in. So normally, let me open a notepad file, and we always have to remember the actual increments, 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1, right? So I'm going to say the following. I have a 22 bits. If it's 22 bits, so I have 8 bits, which is 255, that's 8 bits. Another 255 is 8 bits, that is 16 bits. I need 6 more bits, which is 1, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if I add these up together, what do I get? I get 252. So it's going to be a 252.0. You see that? So, in other words, if I see a 255 and I see another 255 and I look at this IP address, the first two octets will not actually change. So 160.56 dot 160.56 dot. Now, where does the 159 fall under? That's my wild number. You see, because this is a 252, so I'm going to be focusing on the 159 right over here, dot 104. But my main focus is on the 159. How did I get a 159? Where is the 159? Where does it fall under? Well, the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 4. All right. So it's like jumping 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on. Eventually, how do I get 159? Like I know if I say 4 times, let's say 40 is 160. What's before 160? Right? Okay, before 160, and I'm minusing by actually 4, I'm getting a 156. After 160, I get 164, then 168. Well, where does the 159 fall under? It falls between 156 and 160. So what is the network ID? 156.0. You see this? Okay, now I know that the 159 falls in between this range. Like, what is the broadcast? So 156.0 is the network ID, 156.1 is the first host, 159.254 is the last host. So 159.255 is the broadcast. See this? And let's check answer. If you get, like, let's say 10 correct straight through, that means you're perfect. So I'm going to go next. Now, I know this is a slash 25. I don't care what class it is. What is a 255? 255 is 8 bits. 255 is another 8 bits. That's 16 bits. 24 bits. I need one more bit. So if I need one more bit over here, I'm only using the 128. So my jump start is really 128. So this is dot 128. Okay, the 3255s, which means I'm going to put these down 10.76.6 dot 10.76 dot what? Dot 6 dot. Now, what's my wild number? 193. What is my jump start? 128. Okay, if my jump start is 128, so 0, 128, then 256. Where does 193 fall under? Between 128 and 256. So the network ID is 128. The broadcast is 255, right? You see? So I know that the network ID is 128 and the broadcast is what? 255. Check answer. Good. So what you want to do is every time I do something, you could actually pause and try on your own. But I want to do the first few. So look at this. Slash 23. How do I get a slash 23? 255 is 8 bits. Another 255 is 16 bits. I need 7 more bits. What are the 7 bits? Okay, let me put this again over here. 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So what are the 7 bits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 0. So if I add them up together, I get a 254. So this is 254.0. Okay, which numbers don't change? The first two, because I have two 255s. So 19.102. All right, dot. And now, where does the 99 fall under? Okay, well, the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 2. So I'm actually jumping 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Eventually, is going to reach what? 100. And what's before 100 is going to be 98. And 99 falls between 98 and 100, which means the network ID is 98.0. The broadcast is 99.255. So the network ID is 98.0 and the broadcast is 99.255. And let's check answer. See that? All right. So I'm going to go next again. Okay, a slash 26. Let's go back right over here. Slash 26. 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. How do I get a slash 26? Well, I know that there's three 255s, which is a slash 24, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 24 bits. I need two more bits. 11000000. Okay, so which means 128 plus 64 is 192. So my subnet mask is a 192. The first three octets don't change. 40.58 dot 165, 40.58 dot, and now I get the 48. Where is the 48? Well, the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 64. So 0, 64 plus 64, and so on could stop. Why? Because 48 right over here falls in between what? 0 and 64. So the network ID is 0. And what is the broadcast? Yes, 63. And I'm going to click on check answer. There we go. Now, look at this, a slash 22. 255 is 8 bits. Another 255 is 16 bits. I need 6 more bits, right? 6 more bits, folks. Watch this. Let me just get this up. 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So what are the 6 bits? Oh, there you go. A little mistake right over here. Okay. So what are the 6 bits? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 4. I add these up together, I get a 252.0. So which ones don't change? Look at it. 2255. So 22.138 dot. All right. 22.138 dot. Now, where does the 55 fall under? Well, okay, the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 4. So if the value of the last bit that I borrowed is a 4, my jump start is a 4. So it's actually 0, 4, 8, 12. I'm interested in 55. So 4 times 10 eventually is going to reach 40, 44, 48, 52, 60. Oh, between 52 and 60. So the network ID is 52.0. Watch this. The next network is 60. Oh, right. Look at this. So 52.0. The next network is what? 60.0. So what's the broadcast? 59.255. Right? Just like that. A check answer. Oh, hold on. 22, 138. We made an actual mistake over here. Hold on. Let me see. Let me go back right over here and look at the increment. So the increment is 4, 52, 60, and 55 falls between 52 and 60. So the network ID is 52.0. Let me see. 52 and 4, 56. Nobody said actually anything. I'm jumping by 4. Okay, so it's 55.255. So this is a 55. There you go, 55.255. All right. So you have to be paying attention to this. Okay, slash 24. They're fooling you over here at slash 24. Why? Because look, 255, 255, 255.0. That's 24 bits. What is the network? 223.239 dot 31 dot what? Okay, and same thing over here, 223.239 dot 31 dot what? right? I mean, what are we looking at over here? I mean, if you really think about it, this is actually not, nothing is done because it's a slash 24. So this is a zero, and this is a what? A 255, just like that. See that? Okay. Next, slash 20. How do I get slash 20? 255 is 8 bits. 255 is 16 bits. I need four more bits over here. So if I'm looking for four more bits, I get 128. I get 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Which are the four bits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. All right. So my jump start is what? 16. Let's jump right over here. Okay, which number doesn't change? 32. Okay, that's easy. 32 and 16 is what? 48. So 32 falls in between 32. And why am I focusing on 32? Because my subnet mask is 255, 255. And this is what over here? When I add these up together, what do I get? 240. So my focus is on the one that is not 255. 32 falls in between 32 and 48. So here is 16 dot what? To 143 dot what? We'll see. Look at this 16 dot what? Dot 143 dot. Okay, where does the 32 fall under? 32 falls under 32 between 32 and 48. So this is 32.0. The next network is 48.0. So 47.255 is a broadcast. See that? Then let's go next. Slash 20 again. We did a slash 20. Slash 21. Okay. 255 is 8 bits. 255 is 16 bits. I need five more bits, right? Five more bits. So look at this 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. And look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all these are zeros. I add them up together and I get 248 dot zero. Okay, so which numbers don't change? 152, 168, right? Doesn't change. 152.168 doesn't change over here. Where's 193? 193 is where? Okay, well, the value of the last bit that I borrowed is an 8. Okay, in other words, 8 times 20 is going to reach 160 eventually. Then 168. Then what? An 8 is what? 176. An 8 is 184. Then 192, right? And 8, so I'm jumping by 8 is going to be 200. So where does 193 fall under? Between 192 and 200. So 192.0 is the network ID. The next network is what? 200. So what is the broadcast? 199.255, right? And check answer. There we go. Okay, let's do more. Slash 29. Okay, if it's slash 29, 255, 255, 255 is 24 bits. I need five more bits over here, right? 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so I need five bits. I add these up together, I get 248. So this is the 248. Which numbers don't change? The first three octets, 22.167 dot 248 dot what? Then I put these down 22.167 dot 248 dot what? Well, 222 is my wild number, right? And I'm jumping by 8. 0, 8 eventually is going to reach 160. I mean, 8 times 30 is what? 240. Okay, so eventually it's going to reach. I like to multiply by this number 240. What's before 240? 232. What's before 232? When you minus, like, like after 240 is 248, then 256. So I'm just getting rid of an actual 8 from each one of them. You see that? 224. All right. What's before 224? See, I'm just doing 8, which is what? 2 what? 216. So 222 falls in between 216 and 224. So what is the network ID? 216. But the next network is 224. So the broadcast is what? 223, as you see. You see that? Okay, let's do one more. Slash 28. How do I get a slash 28? Well, how many bits? Look at this 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Okay, four bits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. 28 bits for the mask, 255. 255. 255 is 24 bits. And now I have 4 bits. What do I add them up together? 192, 224, 240. All right. So this is 240. As you see, the first three octets are actually not changing. 48, 223, dot 38 dot. And then 48 dot 223 dot 38 dot. Right. And now what I want to do is 164. 164. How did I get 164? 16 is the jump start. Okay, well, eventually I could say 10 times 16 is 160. So eventually it's going to reach 160 and then 176 and then another 16 is 192 and so on. Where does 164 fall under? Between 160 and 176. So 160 is the network ID. The next network is 176. So what is the broadcast? 175. That's the actual broadcast itself. So I'm going to check answer. All right, see that? Okay, we're going to continue this time in our next lecture. I'm going to give you like a few moments, a few seconds. You write it down, you pause the video, and you can see. But as you see, splitting in your head is easy. You don't need an actual calculator, all right? So we'll see you folks in our next lecture. Bye now. Everybody, welcome back. It's Mo again. Well, in this lecture, we're going to continue with more and more subnetting. This time, we're going to do it without a piece of paper and see how that actually works out with us. For example, slash 25. Okay, let me put the subnet mask. 255 is 8 bits. Another 255 is 16 bits. Another 255 is what? 24 bits. I need one more bit, which is what? 128. All right, which numbers don't change? 98.165.199. Okay, 98.165.199. Where does 128 fall under? Well, I got 83 over here, right? So it's 0, 128, 256. 83 falls in between 0 and 128. So the network ID is 0. The next network is 128. So what is the broadcast? 127. And check answer. There we go. Next, slash 28. In our head right now, without a piece of paper, it's good to pause and write it down and see how you get adjusted to it. 255 is 8 bits. 255 is another 8 bits. 16 bits. 24 bits. I need four more. 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 is what? 240. Okay, the first three octets don't change. 44.232.52 dot. Right? 44 dot what? 232.52 dot. Now, where does 136 fall under? Okay, I am jumping by what? Okay, 128, 64, 32, and 16. My jump start is actually 16. Since my jump start is actually 16, where does 136 fall under? Okay, okay, eventually I'm going to say 0, 16, and 16 is 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112, 128, 144. Oh, between 128 and 144. Okay, so 128 is a network ID. The next network is 144. The broadcast is 143. Check answer. See that? All right. Next, slash 29. 255 is 8 bits. Another 255 is what? 8 bits. 24 bits. I need 5 bits. What are the 5 bits? Okay, 248. I already know. 5 bits is 248. 4 bits is 240. 3 bits is 224. 2 bits is 192. 1 bit is 128, and so on. Okay, the first three octets don't change. 209, 21.93. And then the broadcast is also 209.21. What? 93 dot what? Where does 86 fall under? Okay, well, the jump start is what? 128, 64, 32, 16, 8. Okay, 8 is the jump start. Where does 86 jump? 8 times 10 is 80. Okay, 80, then 88. All right. So 86 falls in between 80 and 88. So 80 is the network ID. And the broadcast is what? The next not 80 and 88. So it's what, folks? 87. There we go. All right. And check answer. Where does 26 slash 26, 255, 255, 255, 24 bits, two more. 128 plus 64 is 192. Oh, the first three octets don't change. 167, 194.202 dot what? Okay, same thing over here. 167.194.202 dot. Okay, where does 46 fall under over here? 46. Okay, well, 46 falls under where? My jump start is 128 and 64. So the jump start is actually 64. So 0, 64. Oh, 46 falls in between 0 and 64. 0 is a network ID, and the next network is 64. Broadcast is 63, as you see. All right, you see that? All right. Let's go next. Slash 25. We did this, but the more you do this, the better you folks get adjusted to it. 255 is 8 bits. 255 is what? 8 bits. Another 255 is 8 bits. Okay, I need one more bit. 128, right? And then I do what over here? Which numbers don't actually change? So the first three octets don't change. 120.139.207 dot 120.139.207 dot. So where does 58 fall under if I'm jumping by 128? 0, 128, 256, right? So 58 falls in between 0 and 128. 0 is a network ID, and 128 is a NAS network. 127 is a broadcast. And I'm going to check answer. Next. Oh, slash 24. Are you serious? This is like, okay, it's a class B, but it's using a C mask. 255, 255, 255, dot 0. The first three octets, 189.173.141 dot. Okay, 189.173.141 dot. Okay. Oh, okay. 0, all right, and 255, and check answer. There we go. You see, some of them are like they're trying to manipulate you and see how that actually looks like. So I'm going to go next. Slash 21. Slash 21. 255 is 8 bits. Another 255 is 8 bits, 16 bits. I need 5 bits. Oh, it's 248.0. The first two octets don't change. 224, 60, dot 234, dot. Now, how does 248 fall under? 248 fall under what? Okay, jump start is 8. Where's 105? Okay, 8 times what? Eventually is going to reach what, folks, over here? If I'm jumping by 8, 8 times 10 is 80. 88. 96, 104, 112. So it's between 104 and 112. So 104.0. The next network is 112.0. Oh, 111 dot 255. And check answer. See that? And let's go next. Slash 24. No, I'm not going to do this again. All right. Okay, slash 26. 255, 255, 255 is 24 bits. I need two more bits. 128 plus 64 is what? 192. Now, the first three octets, I'm not changing. 6.254.141 dot. And same thing over here. 6.254.141 dot. Right? So what I have over here is, where is 220? Okay, how did I get 192? 128 and 64. So the jump start is 64. Where's 220? Okay, 0, 64, and 64 is what? 128, 192, and 64 is 256. Between 192 and 256. 192 is the network ID. The next network, okay, oh, it's 255. Check answer. See that? Next. Slash 28. No problem. Anything. You'll do it in your head. Slash 28. Okay, 255. 8 bits. So 255 is 8 bits. Then another 255 is 8 bits. Then another one is what? 8 bits. So 255 is 8 bits, 16 bits, 24 bits, 4 bits. Okay, I know. It's 240. Come on, we have to know this right now. All right? Okay, 146.21.120. What? Oh, okay. Because the first three octets, right? 21 dot what? 120 dot. And over here, how do I get a 110? The jump start is what? Okay, first of all, how did I get 240? 128, 64, 32, 16. My jump start is 16. 0, 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112. Oh, it's between 96 and 112. 96 is a network ID, 112 is the next network, and then 111 is a broadcast. And check answer. See that? Just like that. That's how you do this. Let's do more. Slash 20. No problem. 255 is 8 bits. 255 16. 4 bits. Oh, it's 240.0. The first two octets don't change. 42.6 dot. 42.6 dot. Okay, where's 76? I'm jumping by what over here? I'm jumping by actually what? 16? Why 16? How did I get 240, folks? 128, 64, 32, 16. That's how I got it. So where does the number 76 fall under? Hmm. If I'm jumping by 16. Okay, let's do it. 0, 16, 32, 48, 64, 80. Oh, 64.0. Now 80.0 is the next network. So the broadcast is what? 79.255. Check answer. There we go. You see, that's the best way when it comes up to what? Subnetting. Slash 27. No problem. 255, 8 bits, 16 bits, 24 bits. I need what? Three more bits. 128, 64, 32. Okay, how do I add these up together? 224. Okay, the first three octets don't change. 25, 211, 226 dot. 25, 211 dot 226 dot. Where does the number 9 fall under? Well, how did I get 224? Hello? 128, 64, 32. The jump start is 32. 0, 32. Oh, I'll stop there. Why? Because the number 9 falls in between 0 and 32. 0 is a network ID. Next network is 32. Broadcast is 31. And check answer. And now I can see that. See that? Just like that, I could see exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to take a little break and we'll continue with more and more quizzes. So we'll see folks in our next lecture. Bye now. Everybody, welcome back. It's Mo again. Let's continue our interesting journey subnetting in your head. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. So remember, we don't care what class we're using because it's actually a classless network. So what is this slash 19? Okay, 255 is 8 bits. 255 is 16 bits. I need how many more bits? Three more bits. 128, 64, 32. I add them up together. 224.0. All right. Which ones don't change? The first two octets because I have two 255s. 6 dot what? 137 dot. And over here, 6 dot 137 dot. And how do I get 78? Well, how did I get 224? 128, 64, 32. Jump start is 32. Where does 78 fall under? 0, 32, 64, 96. Between 64 and 96, 64.0 is the network ID. The next network is 96.0. So 95.255 is the broadcast. Check answer. There we go. Okay, let's continue. Slash 22. 255 is 8 bits. 255 is what? 16 bits. I need six more bits. 252.0. Okay, let's do it that way. Which numbers don't change? The first two octets 109.61 dot. 109.61 dot. And now how do I get 21? Okay, how did I get 252? 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4. Jump start is 4. 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Between 20 and 24. 20.0 is an network ID. The next network is 24.0, so 23.255 is a broadcast. And check answer. Let's go next. Slash 21. 255 is 8 bits. 16 bits. Five more bits. Oh, okay. It's 248.0. The first two octets, right? They don't actually change. 25.199, 25.199 dot. Where does 167 fall under? Well, how did I get 248? 128, 64, 32, 16, 8. Jump start is 8. Well, I don't like saying 0, 8. I could say 8 times 20 is 160 and 8 is 168. So it's between 160 and 168. 160.0 is an network ID. The next network is 168, so 167.255 is the actual what broadcast. Let's go next. Slash 29. 255. 255. 255. 24 bits. I need five more. 248. Okay, the first three octets don't change. 187, 142.19 dot. All right. 187.142.19 dot. Where does the 229 fall under? Okay, the jump start is 8. You know what? 8 times 30 is what? 240? Okay, what's 240 minus 2? It's 232. Minus 8 is 232, and minus 8 is what? Wow. Oh, wow. Isn't that better? Okay, so eventually it's going to be between 224 and 232 because I'm jumping by 8. Where does the 229 fall under? Between 224 and what? 232. So 224 is the network ID and 231 is the broadcast. And let's check answer. There we go. All right. Slash 28. 255.255.255 is 24 bits. I need four more bits. 128, 64, 32, 16. I get what? 240. And this one over here is what? 107.69.206 dot. Okay, this one is 107.69 dot 206 dot. Where does the 142 fall under? Okay, the jump start is 16. 16 times 10 is actually 160. 160 minus 16 is what? Right? Think about it like that. 160 minus 16. Okay. Or you could say 16 and 16 is 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112, 128, 144. It's between 128 and 144. So 128 is a network ID. The next network is 144. The broadcast is 143. Next. All right. Slash 19. 255. 255 is 16 bits. I need three more bits. 224, not zero. And then over here, what do I get? The first two octets are actually different. 90 dot 24 dot what? Okay. I stop over here. 90 dot 24 dot what? Over here. So 182 falls under what? Okay, the jump start is 128, 64, 32. 32 is what? 32 is a jump start itself. So 0, 32, 64, 96, and 32 is what? You see, I'm just jumping 128 and 32 is 160, 192. Between 160 and 192. So 160.0 and then 192.0 is the next network. So 191.255 is the broadcast. And check answer. There we go. All right. Next, how do I get 25? 255, 255, 255 is 24 bits. And then I need one more bit, which is 128. Now, the first three octets is 104.159.204 dot 104.159.204 dot. But the eight, oh, the jump start is 128. So 0, 128, 256. All right. So the eight falls between 0 and what? And 128. So 0 is a network ID. And the broadcast is what? 127. And check answer. Come on. All right. So let's go next more and see more examples. Slash 19. 255 is 8 bits, 16 bits, 3 bits is 224.0, right? Dot zero. The first two octets are not changing. 174, 162 dot. 174 dot 162 dot. Where does 251 fall under? Well, how did I get 224? 128, 64, 32. So the jump start is 32. Eventually, it's going to reach 224. 224 and 32 is what, folks? 256. So the network ID is 224. All right, dot zero. The next network is 256, so it's 255.255. That's the broadcast address, as you see. All right, let's go next. Oh, I'm not going to do this one. Why? Because this one is super simple. It's a slash 24. All right. Okay, I'm going to go next. Slash 19. 255 is 8 bits, 16 bits. I need three more bits, 224.0. Which numbers don't change? 119.172 dot what? Okay, 119.172 dot what? And let's see what's the number over here. Now watch this. Where do I put the number 43? Okay, first of all, the jump start is 128, 64, 32. So the jump start is 32. Where does 43 fall under? Okay, 0, 32, then 64. So 32.0, and the next network is 64.0, which means 63.255 is a broadcast. And check answer. There we go. Next, slash 20. Look at this, 29. You guys give yourself a minute, write it down, and let's see what you get. All right, let's see. We'll continue in a moment. Okay, so what did you guys write down? What is a subnet mask? Okay, it's a slash 29. All right. Okay, if it's a slash 29, we did a lot of this. So it's 255, 255, 255 dot what? 248. All right. Okay, the first three octets don't change. 13, 68 dot 178 dot 13.68 dot 178 dot is what over here, right? So this is the number that I want to actually see. 108. Okay, the jump start is 8. 8 times what? I mean, eventually 8 times 10 is 80, 88, 96, 104, 112. So 104 is the network ID, and the next network is 112. 111 is the broadcast. And check answer. All right. So in our next quizzes, we're going to be looking at a different quiz and you'll see. So I want you to keep practicing and practicing and practicing. The more you do this, the more you get adjusted to it. So we'll see you folks in our next lecture. Bye now.